Hello and welcome to the October 2017 Player 4 podcast live stream. I am one of your hosts, Tristan, aka Shagrazir on the Rooster Teeth website.
I'm Malachi, aka Suki Hiba.
Seems like we skipped Alex. Alex, you there?
We didn't skip him. I erased him.
No, in all honesty, Alex can't make it. He's got, family stuff, whatever, obligations. And I'm Joseph, aka Jay Dunlap, and I don't know how to turn off the sound on my phone.
Oh, you should probably figure that out. It's kind of an important thing. I think there is a fourth person. It's not Alex. I'm told he's better than Alex, though.
He's okay. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm Brett Gentile, a.k.a. Diva Tamer.
Gotcha.
I like it. Diva Tamer. Let's go with that. How does one tame divas?
Oh, it's a long process. Arduous.
This could go a lot of ways. I'm not going down any of them. Welcome, everyone, to our live stream podcast. And actually, I guess we want to know why have we replaced Alex with Brett Gentile? What's so special about this man?
Last month I'm sorry, Brett.
You felt like upgrading. It's cool.
That is true.
I like this explanation.
Alex, I know you put in 2.5 years with us, but we're replacing you with someone that we like more.
Yeah.
Yeah, now he's crying. Well, actually, what happened was we had Austin on our last live stream, and we decided we might have the other mind behind the breakout hit that is Mana Screwed. So here comes Brett, and Connor has a so-called obligation. So Connor decided he's not going to be here. But we have Brett, so we have the better of the two.
You know, we're losing all the fun to responsibilities and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm skipping a Pirates of Penzance rehearsal right now, so...
Yeah, see? Responsibilities are just... Who needs them?
Pirates of Penzance.
Nice. Yeah, I'm the rehearsal accompanist.
Oh. Pirates and whose pants?
Mine.
Oh.
What?
Correct.
No. So let's segue that into Magic the Gathering.
Good luck.
Well, there's pirates.
Okay. Tell me about your magical pirates.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about magic, I will say, just as a momentary plug, remember how I led up to this in previous episodes, I am taking a test next week to become a level 1 magic judge. There's that.
Nice.
Hype! Woo!
Kind of a nerd. And I just got certified today to be a Pokemon judge as well.
Nice. Just goes to show, folks.
I'll just see my way out. It's true.
Hey, I've been waiting like my whole life for nerd culture to start paying out, and it has in a big way over the last 5 years.
In spades.
I'm still waiting on that check.
Okay, well.
All right. Okay, Brett. So let's talk about... we're going to talk about Mana Screwed, but real quick, I wanted to talk about the fact that you learned Magic the Gathering, but you intentionally didn't learn it for a while.
Right.
What was up with that?
Well, I never heard of the game before, and there's a couple things that happen. First of all, I have an addictive personality, and it's like anytime I get into something, I go in 100%, and I just don't have time right now to, start any kind of other habits, hobbies, or what have you. But more importantly, I just didn't want to get involved in it because I didn't know what the hell it was about. And I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm getting into that. Like, it's just people sitting around playing cards. If we're going to do that, I'm going to play poker. I want to win money. Which I wish Magic had, like, money pots. That'd be so much sweeter. I'm always trying to add to Magic. I've got drinking elements that I'm trying to introduce. I tried to do it when I was in LA 3 weeks ago when I played a game. I was like, let's do a drinking version where anytime you say pass turn, move to attack, or basically any magical term, you got to take a shot and then you got to do like 5 push-ups. Because it just would have been fun to watch those guys do push-ups.
It's going to be the shortest game of Magic the Gathering ever. They'll get drunk and fall over while doing push-ups and then decide to stay on the floor.
Right. And I have a liver made of steel. I would have, that's my in right there. That's my golden ticket.
Guys drunk passing out on the floor doing push-ups is not Magic the Gathering. That's the military.
Right, exactly. Which I was in. And my blood type just so happens to be Jameson's.
I was expecting something like that.
Yeah. Well, it depends. When I wake up, it's Folgers, and then after 5 o'clock, it turns into Jameson's.
All right.
But yeah,
Working dose.
I just didn't want to. There were multiple reasons, but as I said, for the most part, it's I just have a very addictive personality. When I get into something, I go into it 100%, and something like that just seemed to me, it didn't pass the eye test of being cheap. As we all know, when you get into something, it's a money sink. You just start throwing money at it. And yeah, I couldn't do it, but I ended up doing it, and I have done that. And yeah, I've spent like $2,000 in like the last month and a half.
EDH then?
Wow.
Yeah, every format.
Wow.
Like he said, he gets into it 100%, man. Of course he does every format. What are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I would ask, like, if it wasn't 100%, what 100% would be. But apparently 100% is $2,500 a month.
It could be. If you make $1,700, 100% is $2,500 a month.
At what point do you have to start paying property tax on your Magic cards?
Exactly. I don't have the answer to that question yet, but I will.
The IRS is going to find out. Shoot.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I did that much, I'd definitely be trying to participate in tournaments because that's a lot to invest in it.
Don't tournaments have a money pot? I thought like tier
They
1
do,
was
but you have
money
to travel.
pots.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, if Brett here is in 100%, he must be doing the traveling here soon.
He's going to be a Pro Tour grinder.
Well, no, I'm traveling for. I'm grinding, but I'm grinding in the acting world because that's
right.
You can't cook that baby.
I imagine that actor money pays the bills a little bit better than card game money.
Yeah, I think the only thing that is probably comparable is stripping, but I don't think anybody wants to see me naked. I don't. I'm like,
it's an option.
Yeah. I'm paying my way through college.
So you're the afternoon shift.
I probably would be. I'd probably be the whatever shift has 2 old drunk hobos who are trying to stay out of the rain shift. That'd be my shift.
I shift that.
Wow. There's this no Tristan.
Come on.
I feel like the 4 of us could do an anti-magic mic.
Would we be playing strip magic?
Oh, that was clever. I like that.
Strip magic. That would be.
That would be pretty anti-magic, Mike. You could name that show Anti-Magic Mike, Strip Magic.
Anti-magic Mike.
The exact opposite. A bunch of naked white guys.
Oh, God.
Nobody wants to see us.
Nobody wants to see me.
I'm going to save the podcast, guys, and I'm going to ask the question.
Get us off the sinking ship, quick.
Don't let go, Jack.
You're like the James Lipton of this show,
Don't let go.
Okay, so I was hinting at something, but basically, as I recall, because of the YouTube video that came out recently about you playing Magic before you did the showdown and you had Blood Moon cast on your lands, you were saying that you intentionally didn't learn Magic during Season 1, though you probably knew it was inevitable that you would afterwards.
Right. Yeah.
So what was the thought process?
In which regard? That I would eventually have to learn it, or that
it's method acting, right?
Yeah, as an actor, what was your reason?
For learning it or not learning it?
For not learning it just yet until you finished up Season 1.
Okay. I'll give you an example of how this kind of works sometimes for me, my process. Because nobody cares about our processes as actors. You care about the finished product.
Mm-hmm.
But there is indeed a process. And Garrett didn't know anything about Magic. And the thing is if I knew a great deal about Magic, going in playing a character who didn't know anything about Magic, you're bringing some kind of bias with you, and it's going to play out. And this will probably crucify me, but it doesn't matter. When I joined The Walking Dead in Season 6, the costumer came in and she was like, "So you've seen the show?" And I'd never seen an episode. And I was like, "Nope." And she looked at me like, "Oh my God, like what's wrong with you?" So she started explaining 6 seasons of The Walking Dead. And I stopped her and I was like, I don't need to know about this, because let's look at it from this perspective. the character I'm playing doesn't know. He doesn't know about any of these people, any of their journeys, any of their. It's irrelevant to him.
He just knows that he's surviving in Zombieland.
Right. So it's one of those things where the more you know can actually hurt you as an actor, because you're going to take that stuff that it's going to show up at some point. So Garrett not knowing magic, it's like, okay, I don't need to know this right now. You can explain what I need to know as we go along. I can't remember what episode it was, but there's an episode where he calls me like the Rain Man of magic or whatever.
Yeah.
They explained that to me, and I understood what they were talking about in that moment. But that's all I wanted to know. I didn't want to know anything else.
Being role players that we are in like D&D and stuff, that's why we always try to refrain as much as possible from table talk, because you don't want to learn something and then ask a question you wouldn't ask if you didn't know that information.
Right, exactly. It's not all Daniel Day-Lewis or anything like that, but I mean, there's an element to all of us of, we have biases. Or biases, whatever the plural of bias is.
Bison.
I think it's illegal to eat that now.
I think it is bison. We have bison.
Don't tell them that. They'll come looking for the bison.
Yeah. They're like, we have buffalo?
But it's just buffalo wings.
I hope that makes sense to a certain degree.
It totally does.
Yeah. As a role player, I super feel that, actually. You constantly have these issues where you have to stop people telling you things or telling each other things, because you have to remind them, your characters aren't going to know this.
Right.
And if you learn it now, it's going to be very difficult to separate what your character knows from what you know to play it straight. That's
exactly correct.
So just stop.
Information can be your best ally, but it can be your worst enemy. Yeah. And so that was kind of the logic behind it. But I will say that was one of the moments that definitely piqued my interest. When they were explaining the mechanics of that, I was like, oh, there's a little something to this. During the rehearsal, Brad explained the mechanics, and I was like, oh, there's a lot of, as Bush would say, strategery. And math going on here. Like this is an intelligent person's game.
So are you out there infinite comboing now and just winning games in round 3?
No, because I like to have fun.
Oh no, the fun.
Well, you went there.
He doesn't play the meta.
I understand competition. I'm a very competitive person, but I think whenever you're learning something, if it isn't fun, which Joseph, we talked about this earlier, if it isn't fun, there's always going to be part of you that's like, yeah, I'm cashing out, man, later. Mm-hmm. This sucks.
So as the episodes progressed in Manuscript, did it keep piquing your interest more and more to actually learn it when you finished?
Oh, yeah. And Casey and Brad were definitely reasons for that. I mean, I talk shit on everybody, but Brad he's an encyclopedia of knowledge. In fact, when I have been learning over the last couple months, I've been calling him just during a game between me and my roommate. Be like, oh, I don't understand this mechanic. And I'll call him and he'll explain the mechanic. And some of my problems with Magic are the people that actually write some of the information on the card, because it can be ambiguous at times, you know what I mean? And that's the only thing so far that has frustrated me and the people I play with. Because we're all learning and we're like, what the hell does this mean? The wording of this.
Yeah. You want to go to the person who wrote it down and say, what was your intent when you wrote this? How is this mechanic actually supposed to work?
Right.
Again, completely feel that sentiment as a role player.
Right.
There was actually a card that was printed in this most recent set, Ixalan, that they had to fix the wording on release day, because they didn't realize they had allowed it to exile itself. You don't want that. You created an infinite loop of exile itself, re-interplay, exile itself, re-interplay, as long as you kept choosing it. So they had to change the wording to say it couldn't choose itself.
Right. And it's crazy because if you want to know like specific mechanics, you type something into a search engine, the first 30 websites are just an explanation of the card. It's not an actual mechanic.
Mm.
I think if somebody really wanted to make money, they'd hire like somebody who had a PhD in linguistics or like
Our interpreter.
Yeah, exactly. And just be like, no, this is exactly what it means. This is how it works. And this is what it does.
I just imagine two guys standing on a stage. One guy's holding up the card and the other one's doing sign language to explain it.
Interpreter.
That would be awesome.
Technically, that's what Joseph's job is going to be.
It is, basically.
Uh-oh, rules lawyering.
That is my job. I've been running tournaments at my store for about 6 months. Often, though, the answer when someone says, Judge, what does this card do? I grab the card and I read every word printed on it, and they go, okay, thank you.
Wait, legitly?
Yes, there's a term for that. The term that Magic users use is RTFC.
Read the card. Got it.
Yeah, read the card.
I mean, you might as well walk up, throw the card, and slap in the face.
Yeah.
Lick
Throw
the
it at
back
their
of it
face.
and stick it to their forehead.
You can
There we
actually
go,
get
okay.
you can get card sleeves that have that on it too.
There are card sleeves like that. Yeah.
They say that?
They say RTFC on them.
Yep.
Yes. It's amazing.
There's just a special card sleeve that has like a highlighted box right around where the description will go when you slot the card in it.
No, it's just
All
on
right,
the backside.
I haven't gotten into the Ixalan stuff yet because I'm still figuring out the commander decks.
Mhm.
But here's the question I have. I've heard a lot of people, the Dragon set, right? The Dragon Commander deck.
Mhm.
A lot of people complain that it's like it doesn't have enough mana in it or whatever. That has not been my experience.
No, that's not been my experience either. I own the deck.
Yeah. So what is going on with that? Because I've been playing my roommate, and it's to the point where I want to stab him in his sleep with a knife. Because I'm playing the vampire deck against the dragon deck, and I think I'm like 0-16.
Ouch.
Well,
Yeah.
a lot of time, how experienced is he with the game? Because, like, I could give my roommate, he actually plays Magic quite a bit. And if I hand him one of my decks and playing both my decks, he'll kick my butt. But it's just because of his knowledge, is he knows what he's looking for and can, like, he doesn't miss any of his plays. And it can make a huge difference.
Okay, got you. Well, my roommate I started 2 months ago. He started 2 weeks after I did.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I guess you got no excuse then.
Right. On the Myers-Briggs, he's like an INTFJ, whatever the hell it is. He's basically he's on the spectrum.
INFJ. Gotcha.
Yeah.
It seems the student has surpassed the master.
Yeah. But he's a big guy. I just I might murder him in his sleep if he beats me.
So what you're saying is he plays blue.
Yeah. He really does.
I'm that guy.
Oh, are you? Oh.
Yeah, we had a conversation in the interview about, how was it like it was your first experience, you were playing against someone playing Control, it was like Connor, I think, and it wasn't a fun experience. And I kept my mouth shut, but I often will go to F&M and I'll get paired against a beginning player. And I'm like, crap, I brought my Torrential Gearhulk deck. This is not going to be a fun experience.
Yeah.
So I'm like apologizing while I'm beating them in the face.
Well, that's what he did. The video will come out soon. Well, here's the funny thing is we had shot, we had a sketch that we had shot, which was Big Brother Westeros. So it's characters from Game of Thrones in Big Brother. And it's actually funny as hell. And the next day I was gassed. And Connor came over and he's like, we have to film you playing Magic. And I was like, dude, I'm gassed. He's like, no, we got to do it. So that's when Austin was actually doing the interview with you that me a red, white humans. And he was playing the Control deck. And he was like, well, let's just try this out. And he, as I said, I had to read every card. And I still didn't take any of the information in. But when we filmed it, we played the same deck. And both times, I had him on the ropes. The first time I was just attacking. I was just aggro out the ass. And he managed to come back. But the second time I had learned, I was being real passive. And he just annihilated. And at some point during the video, no spoiler, it's a spoiler. I actually got up and started like professing that he was being a bully and that audience was going to go on my side. Like I totally went into like third grade mode.
Stop hurting my life points.
Yeah, it was. I turned into such a little girl because I was just like every primal toddler instinct came to mind. I was like, oh, you're bullying me, and just they're gonna love me and hate you. But yeah, blue sucks. It will destroy you.
All I'm thinking of when you're talking about throwing a fit like a toddler because you're being bullied is my 4-year-old daughter is a bully.
Oh,
like she'll just walk up to me and start hitting me and kick me. I'm like, get off me, bully. She's gonna be awesome when she grows up.
Oh gosh, what happened?
She's sweet. She's an awesome little sweet girl that punches people.
She's a sweet bully.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when the worst thing she used to do was kick her shoes off in the car and then scream like there was no tomorrow.
That was the sign she was done for the day. The shoes came off.
The shoes came off.
Tristan was witness.
Hon, we have to pull over. The shoes are off.
Oh no.
He doesn't kick those shoes off as soon as they get in. Come on.
And their pants and other things sometimes.
Yeah, well, like I said, I got a roommate. I got to watch the pants thing.
Right.
Plead the fifth.
I don't know.
I had a World of Warcraft playing roommate who was always in his boxers. Not unlike the whitey tidy guy on Mana Screwed, but a little bit.
Oh, God.
Was like episode 3 or 4, but a lot more, culturally aware. So let's talk about Mana Screwed.
That guy is based off a real guy, and Austin went real soft on him because the guy was actually worse than that.
Really?
I hated that character.
Yeah, we all did.
We all sat around this thing and said, okay, how do we make this guy the worst guy? Oh, I know somebody like this. Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Just base him word for word off this guy.
Yeah.
He's the worst.
Yay.
Okay, so the origins, as we talked about on the interview of Mana Screwed, was you bullying Austin. Is that the long and short of it?
Bully's a bit much.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Teasing?
I'm not your daughter.
Oh, that's true. I've never had someone say that to me before.
Yeah. Although my shoes are off, and so are my pants.
So you could be my daughter.
That could be.
Oh gosh! All right, let's save this.
I think we finally came full circle to the daughter with the beard remark from one of the earliest episodes.
Oh my no! Let's not go.
It's finally happened, Joseph.
I can retire.
Tell me you have a beard, Brett.
I do.
Yes,
he does.
I win. I win everything.
Nice beard. No, we're coming full circle to the fact that Tristan breaks me every week.
Oh, nice.
Okay, I'm better. I'm a better now. I'm not anymore. So basically, the long and short of it was you gave him a hard time because he was engrossed in this game, and it turned out to be not unlike the story of Connor's character.
Yeah, very much so. Well, I come from a background of the more you like someone, the more shit you give them.
That's exactly how I live. Yeah.
And I give Austin more shit than I think I give anyone else, which means I love him. So yeah, that was kind of the basic premise of the show, I think, is Austin was like, you're the most hilarious when you give me crap. And I play Magic and you give me crap about that. I think it would be hilarious. I was like, yeah, I agree. Why not? Let's do it. And we sat down and we spitballed probably 6 of the first 10 episodes in like a half hour, just talking about character and stuff. Yeah. Well, Austin he's very, very intelligent, and we've known each other for a long time, and we just know how stories are told. It's actually the Freitag model, ladies and gentlemen, which, you have your inciting incident, your rising action, your climax, your descending action, your denouement, which is French for we give up. It's probably not, but yeah. So we looked at the story in a way that we're we're familiar with each other and we're saying like, what are the arcs? And we're doing similar stuff with season 2 right now, like where we want to see these people go. What are their arcs? And when you can figure that out, it speaks to an audience because it's always very human, because we all have our daily arcs and our weekly arcs and our yearly arcs and our life arcs. And then you can just write around that stuff. It's actually not very difficult to write good stuff. What's difficult is finding people to
express it.
Yeah, to convey that stuff. Because actors are assholes. For the most part, all they want is fame and fortune. They've lost the art of wanting to be a storyteller. And even though I think that Austin has a certain degree of, wanting to prove his worth and everything, he is a storyteller at heart, and he's a good one. He's a verbose one, but he is a good one. And same with Connor, and same with Pierce, who's our director of photography, who's a brilliant. If you look at the footage, you're just like, what the? Like, how do you get that quality? And his composition of frame, everything is just like, these are great storytellers. So yeah, it started from a very personal experience with a very close person that I adore, and translated into a medium that we both love and a subject that's very near and dear to him. And it became near and dear to me, not through the process of filming it, but in the reactionary process of people watching it. Like, you see their reactions to it and you're like, they love this. And it's not just some tongue-in-cheek boosh. They actually, this means something to them. You were talking about it, Joseph, during our interview about episode 2, when Connor explains to the girl how he got into it. Mm-hmm. And you saw a lot of the reactions of people online that, like, that's kind of what brought them into the world of magic. It was escape, but it was also something that cradled and nurtured and took care of them and gave them a community, gave them a tribe. It's fascinating to me.
It's been a whirlwind of a journey for myself as a Magic player. And I can associate with that whole idea. Not even like not everyone goes to it to escape, but everyone gets something out of it they didn't expect. Mm-hmm. And what I got out of it, my daughter had just been born and I needed an additional job. So I had been going to this store and I applied and they hired me and I worked there for about 9 months. And during that time, I became Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad. I had already quit Magic several years before, and here I was falling back into it. And I was enjoying it a lot. But since then, and that my daughter's 4, so that's been 4 years. Since then, I'm about to become a level 1 judge. I used to host 2 different Magic podcasts. I write for a Magic website, and it's just become such a huge part of my life. I can't imagine what would happen if I were to have removed it from my life, and what would my life have looked like in these past 4 years without it.
Right.
Which is a little sad, but not mostly.
I don't think it's sad at all, man. I don't want to get too philosophical about it, but I think the most important kind of organization that we always have is this idea of tribalism or communities. And if you look at the Magic the Gathering community, I mean, yeah, it always has, a couple bad apples in it, but it's a very that community stands in solidarity. And the world we live in right now, solidarity is kind of missing. And if you look at that community of people, yeah, a game is bringing everyone together. You don't really see too much in the Magic community of, all these issues that are happening. You don't see them. You don't see them prevalent in that community. They don't look at that stuff. It's actually an anomaly to a certain degree. And the idea that we wanted to make a show that brought people into that community that had no experience, like myself, is at the forefront, and it's working. It is working because from my own anecdotal experience, which is redundant, but my roommate, my girlfriend, other people have expressed an extreme interest in it. Not the game, the community. It's fascinating to me. It really is.
Yeah, it was because of what you had set out to accomplish with your story, which I've heard from you, Connor, Austin, all of you, to some degree or another, was you weren't trying to make a show that just catered to Magic players. You wanted to write a story about guys who played Magic and one guy who didn't, and as a result, it really brought people into it. You wouldn't have someone play D&D by making them watch people play D&D, and you wouldn't get people into the Magic community by making them watch people play Magic. You would get people interested in the human element of it. Tristan, for example, has limited Magic experience. At one point, we played Hearthstone together, but that's it. And he got just as engrossed into the story of Mana Screwed preparing for our interview with Austin as anyone watching it. Tristan, what was your experience with that?
I mean, what I found personally as someone who is outside of the Magic community was that, again, not to harp on it, but the writing was excellent because it did make the material accessible to somebody who wasn't already inside and comfortable with what they were seeing. They in the first couple episodes alone, several of the punchlines of the jokes were to point at the descriptions on these cards or the mechanics of them and say, man, this is convoluted. This is hard to follow.
Right.
Which somebody who's never played can easily relate to. It's one of the things that keeps them out of that community is, how am I supposed to know what to do with these things?
Right.
And so they pointed at those and they made the jokes about, you know, and at the same time they pointed at it and said, you know, they made jokes without explanations and said, here's an esoteric joke. Why would you put Fogg in the deck and nobody with no explanation for what's going on, what Fogg is? But you understand that this is one of those. You're looking at a meta again, and even somebody who's not familiar with the game understands that there are good and bad strategies, and so I felt that it wasn't held. I wasn't kept at arm's length by not being part of the Magic community. It told the human side. I got engrossed in the stories surrounding it, the relationships between these people and how Magic brings them together, keeps them apart, or acts as a crux in an issue that they're having.
Right. Yeah. It's funny because you mentioned the Fogg card. You can immediately, you know, the poker community could immediately watch that episode and be like, all right, Fogg is a 7-deuce offsuit. Never did that. But here he is.
Never do this.
And he won, and everybody is sitting around the table is like, they're not pissed off that he won. They're pissed off at what he played. It's just like, oh my God, man, nobody does that. Well, I did it and I won and it worked. And you're like, you son of a, no, it doesn't. And then you've got this other element that comes in of somebody in your life that you wish didn't exist. The funny thing to me is the episode where him and I went to roll kids for Magic cards.
Oh, that was great.
That had so much backlash, man. If you ever look at the episode and you look at the comments, man, people were pissed off about that. And everybody became a critic of characterization. Like, that's out of character and nobody would do that. And they were so pissed off. And we had conversations about it because we started to get worried. We were like, oh, shit, can we recover from it? Because, you know, we just pissed off our entire demographic. And what I told Austin was they're pissed because they're invested.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why they're upset. Because they don't want to see people they like doing things that they don't approve of. That's a good thing. And we will recover, and we'll recover quickly. Because we knew what footage we had, we knew what the episodes coming up were, and we knew that everybody had a saving grace. But it's scary when you put that out there and you're like, wow, this is our fan base, and we just really upset them. Yikes. Sometimes you got to do that.
I guess I don't look at things in such a negative way so much, because I felt that the daughter's drawings on the paper plates expressed more of an exaggeration of the situation.
Right.
Like, it wasn't, I felt because you did that, it was less serious than you like putting on ski masks or doing something that looked more villainous. And I knew it wasn't going to end badly, and I thought it was kind of funny because she was like, you put on the mask. He's like, "Oh, your daughter did a wonderful job.
She's so talented."
We were scared though because when we put them on, we were like, "This is going to be hilarious," and we actually talked about shooting footage of the little girl that plays my daughter. Shooting footage of her sitting in the background somewhere, like working on these masks. Where, Connor was like, masks, where do we get masks? And he turns around and he looks, and there she is coloring, making faces on paper plates. So we were laughing about it. But when Connor and I actually put them on and we were doing the scene, it was funny at times. And other times I was looking at him and he was looking at me and was like, dude, this is creepy. This is creepy shit.
Yeah.
Like, what's the movie where they suspend the law for the day and everybody
The Purge.
Oh,
the Purge. I was like, dude, you take a character out of the Purge. He was like, yeah, you do too. Even though the mouth was on my nose and we were laughing hysterically, there was just like this concern of, man, I hope this dog hunts because if it, oh man. But,
I liked the whole scene because it bordered on the absurd, and absurdist humor doesn't have to make sense.
Right.
So I think just maybe people didn't get where you were headed with that sort of gag, and often people are most critical of things that they like anyway. So I mean, you're right. That's a good thing to have people not say, "I'm done with this show. That was a dumb scene," but more like, "Oh, I don't think that's in character for such and such character." They're invested. Right.
Exactly. And it that was the episode where it made us all sweat because of the reactions to it. And like I said, we talked about it and I was like, no, this is a good thing. People are invested. And while we were shooting it, it was a little crazy, but I kept reminding people too of the desperation that Garrett displays in the episodes following, that he wants him out so bad of his house. He wants him out of his house so bad and out of his life that he's willing to suspend his own morality and his ethics to just get him the hell out. I'll do whatever it takes. And I think it played out well in that way because people picked up on it. Because your audience, see, Hollywood thinks they play the lowest common denominator. They think their audiences are stupid. And we don't agree, especially with the magic community. It's a highly intelligent audience. They get the minutia. They understand the nuances. Just put it out there. They'll get it. You know what I mean?
I think that was actually I'll go ahead. Sorry.
I read books. I get it.
I was just going to say that was a turning point in the show, because very next episode, you guys sit down at the table and start laughing and you offer him a beer. And I'm like, oh, this is a turning point. And then, the crush comes up and then your character starts to defend him with the boyfriend. And then you look back on that episode and you go, that was a turning point. That was a bonding experience.
Yes.
And also there was plenty of people in the comments that were saying, no, don't you remember when he said he's willing to do anything to get him out of the house?
Right. Yeah. It's kind of funny because to me, the best buddy films, and you can look at David Spade and Chris Farley. They were magical because they were people that in everyday life they would never associate. But a common goal makes people step outside of their comfort zone and do the abnormal. And I think we just have touched the tip of the iceberg. I think we can go so much further. No spoilers or anything, but I would love it if in the future we find a reason for them to no longer want to be with each other, even though they need each other. To me, that would be this fulcrum of like desperation for an audience of like, no, don't, no, you guys, like, I want people screaming at the
Don't
screen.
break up the band.
Right, exactly. I want people screaming at the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we can easily do that. I know.
I have a question though. The burning question on my mind is, do you get the play dates with the bouncer?
I love that
big
scene.
Way. Probably not. But I will say this: he is in the Big Brother Westeros skit we did.
Oh,
yeah. Keep your eyes out. And he's a good actor.
he was pretty funny.
Yeah, he's funny in this too. He plays I don't know all the characters' names in Game of Thrones, but who's Khaleesi's husband?
Drogo?
Khal Drogo.
Yeah, he plays Khal Drogo. It's hilarious.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, obviously.
What's a Westeros?
Khaleesios. I don't know anything.
It's a restaurant, right?
Yeah, obviously, I am now fully submerged in nerd culture. I love you guys.
Welcome to the dark side.
Playerful podcast, nerd culture. Let's see. We all play D&D. We all play Magic. Malachi, you LARP sometimes. I'm a Magic judge. It's nerd culture, and we're accepting of everyone, including, Alex's replacement.
We don't want those. We don't want those reenactors here, though. That's too far.
Yeah, we don't want actors here.
It's just
reenact.
8 actors.
It's always a great community because a lot of the people that are involved in it are people that are very creative, which is always fun. Like with my LARPing, half the people I play with are prop makers for theater and have all acted in theater and do it on a regular basis. It's just so much fun.
Right. Well, the one thing I've always loved people who think critically, and I oddly have always surrounded myself with people who don't. For some reason, I don't understand.
It makes you appreciate them that much more when you come across them.
Exactly. So I started watching Silicon Valley. I think I've watched 3 seasons in the last 2 days, and the writing in that is absolutely brilliant. The writing in Silicon Valley is bar none some of the best writing I've ever seen, and I think we can beat in upcoming seasons.
I agree with you. You've set the stage for some really good storytelling.
Yeah. And now that the biggest hurdle is there's so many places to go, where do we go that serves our story and represents our audience? That's the biggest hurdle.
Are you going to boldly go where no show has gone before?
Yep. Stardate 2017.
There you go. Perfect.
We are showing our nerd credentials, aren't we?
Yeah, it's weird, man. I grew up with my dad played pro baseball and stuff, and he was my football coach, and I always played football, and I was always sports oriented and nerds. I was Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds. I was just nerds. And never realizing that at heart, hi, my name is Brett Gentile. I'm a nerd.
Welcome, Brett.
Thank you.
Hi, Brett.
Hey, how you doing?
My dad was very involved in me doing sports as well, and at the same time, I was playing with my Legos.
Yeah.
So I've always sort of ridden that line. I was in marching band. That's both worlds all at once.
Yeah. I was in marching band, too. I was in drumline.
Oh, awesome. So I was too for sometimes.
I played drums, so we weren't really in the marching band.
You were like the jocks of the band.
Yeah, we were.
Freaking pit.
Yeah, I did play in the pit.
I did too.
Yeah. When I was in high school, we had the #1 high school drumline in the United States.
Wow.
2 years, yeah.
Where was that?
Carlisle, Pennsylvania in 89 and 90. And many of those guys who were in the drumline have like gone on to do it. One guy, Brian Knickerbocker, is like playing in the Presidential Marine Corps band. So he has one job. He just plays Hail to the Chief on the wall. Another guy, Tom Rarick, who we called him Beaver. He was in the Garfield Cadets, center snare, and like teaches in a university somewhere. Like all these guys still play drums, and like I don't. I just use pens to impress people.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's me when I'm making my toast in the morning. I'm always banging out Latin beats with the knife.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I taught myself some Latin beats so I could do something while I was bored.
Yeah.
So there's, Phantom of the Opera, the longest running show in Broadway or whatever.
Phantom of the what?
If you Phantom of the Opera.
Come on, I saw it in Paris.
Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, right. I saw that one.
Yeah. The guy that was in love with Katie Holmes. Yeah. Anyway, so because I'm a music instructor at a college, I'm gonna bring up music. So we're talking about music, and you said you were on a drum line, and you guys won best drum line of '89. So chances are you probably knew someone who was on the drum line for Santa Clara Vanguard when they won the drum corps finals with Phantom of the Opera.
There's a chance. Yeah. Most of the guys that I marched with Blue Coats because it was it was in Pennsylvania, so it was near Pennsylvania.
I had a roommate from Blue Coats.
Yeah, and Gary Grayhowski was one of our teachers. I think he worked with Blue Coats a lot, so he just brought those guys over. But like I said, when those guys went on, it was funny. I didn't know how to read music or anything like that. I had to work really hard. And being a military kid, I moved around a lot. So I just picked it up in like 8th grade over in Germany. And when I got to the States my junior year, my mom was like, "Oh, you're talented. You should try out." And when I tried out, nobody knew I couldn't read music. So I would just watch the sticking, basically. In drums, you call it sticking. Mm-hmm. And I would just watch what they were doing, like, Swiss rolls, paradiddle, stuff like that. I'd be like, "Oh, okay, that's what it was." And I'd go home and try it out. But I managed to make my way in because, as I told you, when I find something I love, I go 100%. And if I don't absolutely love it, you get 0. So, yeah, I think I'm, what do you call it? Kinetic energy bipolar. Yeah. Be 100 or nothing.
I was just going to say that I was assuming that if you couldn't read music, you were probably learning it in drummer talk. So paradiddle, cheese, all of that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not much of a drummer. I'm more of in the percussion world, more of an auxiliary and marimba player because I'm a piano player. I did teach front ensemble at 2 different drum corps, and I know that drum talk is a different language entirely from music.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
So my drummer friends out there will be happy to hear this conversation that they're never going to hear.
Right.
They think it's about magic. We actually started talking about, drumline. That's what this podcast is about.
Yeah, it's drumline.
The best movie ever.
Drum and Bugle Corps podcast, man.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Tristan, your thoughts on drum corps?
I have a tough relationship with it because it was one of those things that was sort of forced on me by my father. My father was famously part of the Geneva Apple Knockers in New York and does not let us forget ever. So I spent a large portion of my childhood being dragged around to drum and bugle corps shows. And while I could very much appreciate the arrangements, I could appreciate the movements, especially while playing, getting these formations down. I think it's because of that I have a complete inability to sit through a live musical performance. Like, you could get my favorite band that I listen to in my car every single day and say, "Hey, they're performing live near you and here's free tickets." I wouldn't go. I can't do live music because of that. And I don't want this to sound like if this is all bad. I spent my whole middle and high school career playing trumpet. Unfortunately, where I was, which was Corning, New York, Elmira, New York,
Elmira.
The music program at the school I was at was, let's just say, it was lacking. And me, who went into 7th grade completely unable to read music and joining the band and learning to read music while I was in band, I was one of the better trumpeters. There were like 4 trumpeters that were, known as the best trumpeters in the band, and I was like number 4. So that should, I'm not saying I was great. I'm saying there wasn't a lot to compare to.
Right.
I had a good time though, and I learned to read music, and we went and we marched in parades. We never did formations or drum corps myself. But I had to in high school, my dad, because of my experience with drum and bugle corps via my dad, I was the one who kind of spearheaded getting the band to learn to actually march, because the band director never enforced marching during the parades. It was just kind of, they just let the people plod along, and they would lose tempo and the music would go all over the place. And it wasn't good. I didn't have a good experience in music through no fault of my own.
But the flag chicks were hot.
Sometimes. I mean, we had a color guard. We had a color guard. Okay, we had one. It was like 3 people who were moderately attractive. Yes, Joseph?
Real talk, real quick.
Yeah.
How is it we've been friends for, 4 years or longer?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know these things about you until Brett Gentile gets on our podcast and asks you about it.
Because I pretend to be very interested and friendly?
I unite people. Come on, Tristan. Hey, my grandfather was born in Elmira, by the way.
I'm sorry for him. I don't know what it was like back then, other than I don't know when he was born. I know that it has the moniker Hellmira because it was a prison camp during the Civil War, and a really horrific one. I don't know that it's improved a lot since then.
That's a good segue. Prison camps.
No. I didn't mean to do this. I'm sorry.
No, actually, I was going to ask Malachi a question, and it's regarding movies. And it's regarding the story of Manny Screwed, but in a different way. Malachi, there's a lot of ins and outs. No, there really is a question, Tristan. I'm sorry. There's a lot of ins and outs that you've talked about with LARPing.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched a movie one time about LARPers, and I was disappointed, not because it was about LARPing, but because they didn't really follow through with their premise. And that movie was Knights of Badassdom with Peter Dinklage.
Oh.
And it was a movie where this guy was not a LARPer, and he was LARPing because his friends pulled him into it. And then all of a sudden, this woman in the forest is going around killing people. She turns out to be a demon and kills half the camp, and then they kill her. And I'm like, what? No, that's not the story. I wanted a story about LARPers. So, Brett, do you think there's ever a chance that you guys would ever branch out and tell other stories?
Yeah, I do.
Wait.
I think for the most part.
I'm sorry, Malachi.
I was like, you asked me a question.
This is how we ask questions. You address a person, you state something, and then somebody else responds to it.
They call that trolling.
No, it's a good look.
Welcome to the Player 4 podcast.
So this is us. Malachi, I'm still hazing you 2 years after you joined the podcast.
No.
Yeah. I thought he went to the bathroom, to be honest.
He mutes himself, and I don't know what he's doing over there.
I do.
I mute myself because you yelled at me about my chair. That's besides the question. Let's go back to the conversation.
Malachi, I love you, but...
Was Knights of Badassdom the breakout role for Dinklage? I feel like I've heard this name once before.
No, it wasn't his breakout role. It was one of his roles. It also had Danny Pudi from Community.
Sorry, was it the first letter in that? Papa? P?
Danny Pudi. It also
That's
had Summer Glau from Firefly.
I like her.
But anyway, Brett. Right, yeah. So what were you saying before Malachi interrupted you?
Yeah. And thank you for coming back to what matters. Yeah, it's the channel. I think we're messing around. Austin keeps bringing up the idea of branching out with sketches, which I think we're very interested in, but also other properties, because we don't want it to just be about Mana Screwed necessarily. I mean, that's kind of our flagship production, but we want to reach out to other communities as well. Dungeon D&D is one that we're talking about.
Heyo.
And having some crossover. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because we feel that's important. The community of D&D is just as strong as the community of Magic. So yeah, we just want to represent all these different communities and have some crossover where maybe people that play Magic and have no interest in D&D will cross over, and vice versa.
And get into a fight.
It's unfortunate.
We don't want Sharks and the Jets here. We're not trying to do, West Side Story. We're trying to actually unite.
I'm hoping for Grease. I just want them snapping at each other.
We're gonna rumble tonight. So there's a lot of potential. It's unfortunate that Connor decided to not show up for this because he's in the Third Gamers movie, and I was a big fan of those movies back when they were first coming out. and those were along the lines of Mana Screwed, where while it focused on the story of their D&D game, it was also just as much, the second one and third one at least, about the actual characters and what they were going through. The second one is the guy coming up with the story has writer's block, and his players keep failing in this adventure over and over, and he's trying to figure out how he can improve the story.
Right,
and then
he
the
keeps
third
messing
one,
with the mechanics of the game, and he's like, I need you guys to be your characters and think it through critically.
They're just not being actors, they're being gamers.
Yep.
And then the third one is this guy learns a card game because a girl's hot. So then that girl wasn't, no, never mind.
Oh, no, you finish that now.
The hot girl wasn't Connor. He's a hot guy.
Connor?
So
you think Connor's hot?
I think he's hot.
Do you want
him? Do I want his number? Well, I've got him on Skype.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to work that angle. Anyway, I don't know what to do with this. Okay, so Tristan, he broke me.
I know. You need to blow up his phone now with text messages.
All right, so what I'm getting at is there is a lot of potential for a D&D series where maybe you just show every time they meet for their game, and then you just show the progression of the issues they're working out through the way that they behave in the game before, after, and during.
Right.
It's just an idea. Maybe I'll do it. I don't know. Yeah. So anything else from you guys on this episode?
I have been indoctrinated.
Yeah.
Into what?
I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah, you piqued everybody's curiosity with that statement.
Are you
indoctrinated into what?
We're not asking you to drink Kool-Aid, Tristan.
Are you sure?
Joseph thinks Connor's hot, and you've been indoctrinated.
And Malachi is doing something with his mic muted.
Malachi's
in the bathroom.
Malachi's dropping a deuce, and
what?
I like this podcast. I like the format.
I said it was open format. I guess I didn't realize what I meant at the time.
But we're all getting along.
Yeah, we are getting along.
That is important.
I will like to say this in a final message. I will say this. I do think personally that community, the individual is the smallest kind of organization that we have, and that can be positive or it can be negative. It can be negative in a way that you can be narcissistic when all you do is focus on me. And there's like a desire to do that with social media and, selfies and Facebook and everything like in the mediums. But I think community's definitely something that can help us all in what we're doing right now. And some of the communities I'm seeing, whether it be the Magic community or the D&D community, the gaming community is creating true solidarity despite all the stuff that we're seeing around us right now. And I think our goal has kind of somewhat switched a little bit to bringing people into that fold and creating kind of a safe place for people to feel what you guys have been feeling for years. Does that make any sense?
It totally does. I like your perspective.
Yeah.
I like your positivity.
Well, nerds, it's the age of the nerd, man. Like we had the industrial era and the Enlightenment period. I think it's the
Bronze Age, and
it's the nerd age. I think
it's the nerd age now.
So wait, the industrial age, you made things out of new inventions. The Bronze Age, you made swords out of bronze. So you're making things out of nerds. Is that what I'm getting from this?
Yeah, we're gonna make stuff out of nerds.
Oh goodness,
definitely. Robots.
Yeah, I don't like where this is going.
I have the sense that we're about to be ground into a fine paste.
Brett, one final note here. Look forward to seeing what happens to you in Walking Dead.
I can't. I want to, but I can't.
I know.
The NDAs right now are stupid, man.
Oh, yeah.
I had an audition the other day. I had no idea what the hell it was. The name of it was ridiculous. And I was sitting in the room and I was like, is this like a sci-fi Sharknado type movie? And everybody was looking at me like, what the hell? But they give us no information, man. And then when we do some of these projects, man, it's crazy because of social media, because people post pictures and do stupid shit. And it's like, dude, it's a job. Just do your job.
Leaks happen like crazy. Just even Magic the Gathering, cards get spoiled months ahead of time that aren't supposed to be because some guy had a cousin in Germany where the card was printed and like got a sheet or whatever. And the next thing you know, we're finding out about cards we're not supposed to know about. I can only imagine what it's like with NDAs when it comes to acting.
Dude, I get auditions where I can't even get my sides. Like I can't even get my dialogue until I sign an NDA, send it in, and then take a picture of me holding the NDA so that I can prove it's me. It's like, come on, man.
Really?
And then when you get the sides, it's not even from the show. It's made up. And they'll change the name of the show. It's like, come on, man. This is just stupid at this point. I'm trying to help you solve a problem.
Right.
You need
actors.
Like your need.
I'm an actor.
Right. I'm trying to help you solve a problem. And how the hell am I supposed to do that if I'm not informed?
Mm-hmm.
And
well, yeah.
Welcome to engineering.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. It's probably even worse there. There's more money at stake.
It can be pretty bad. I've had to sign NDAs at every single job, and the worst part is that you're in the middle of doing the job, and you're still asking for information that you needed in order to start the job. Right.
Because there's one guy out there that wants, or one gal, whatever. I'm not going to be sexist. Women really do it too. There's somebody out there that just wants to let everyone else know, hey, here's what I'm doing. Look at me, I'm cool. And it's like, no, you're not cool. You just, in fact, this season, not to go over or anything, but this season, you can look it up online. There was an actor on The Walking Dead who took a picture with him and Andrew Lincoln and another actor and posted it on Twitter, which we weren't supposed to do. But through that picture, it was just a harmless picture, past the eye test is a harmless picture. But when people who watch the show who are fanatical about it, they basically figured out what the whole episode was about from the picture.
Conspiracy theorist, man. You gotta watch out for that shit.
No, I completely understand that, Brett, because I watch Walking Dead religiously when it comes out. And so whenever an episode comes out and I didn't get a chance to watch it, even a word on someone's Twitter will spoil the episode for me because I'll immediately figure out what happened.
Oh, yeah. One word.
Even just an emoji. So, yeah, we're not going to ask you what happens. I'm just excited to see what happens for your exciting front and center character.
I get some good coverage this season, I'll tell you that.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. I was hoping for that. Hope to see more of you.
Check out my Twitter after the first couple episodes. I'll be able to post stuff. I got some great photographs.
All right. For our listeners who didn't listen to the interview, shame on them. What is your Twitter handle?
It's I don't know. My Instagram is BCG. I'm horrible at this stuff. BEE underscore SEE underscore GEE. I think that's my Instagram. My publicist gets on me about this. She's like, you gotta score more on this stuff. I'm like, no, I'm not interested. And unfortunately, that's how they're casting people these days.
You have to be pretty high public knowledge before they'll even scoop you up, huh?
Hey, man, 1 million followers is, what is that, 10 million in tickets?
So is that like the new threshold? If I have 2 followers, I better just pack my shit and leave?
Yeah, I don't think I have many. But I don't know. I think I got, I don't know. Is somebody looking me up? I hear some.
Yeah, that's me. Sorry. Yeah, you have 124 followers, which is fewer than I have. I don't know why.
Oh, wow. It's like Trump.
Right? And that's why they're on me. They're like, you got to have more followers. You got to get validated. Stuff. I'm like, no.
You are Gentile Brett, which is an accurate description of your personality as well.
Oh, thanks. Does that mean I'm non...
No, it just means you're a very nice guy. I'm not trying to be savage. That's my job at the university where I teach, apparently. That's how my students view me. All right, I've got to head out. I think we've got to close this up because I've got a rehearsal I'm going to be fashionably late for, but they knew I was going to be.
Hey, guys, I really appreciate it. I really do. And you guys are cool as shit. And let's do it again sometime.
I'm going to hit you up after season 2 starts to be developed or filmed or whatnot. I'm going to hit you up again.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right.
Good.
Thank you for being on with us. That was really fun.
Thanks, guys.
Malachi.
He's in the bathroom.
He's in the bathroom.
I'm here.
Malachi, I love you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, when you're talking about band stuff, there's not much I can say. I'm just gonna spout out random crap out of my mouth hole.
Are you salty? You seem salty.
You say I hate band kids. I hate the
He used the phrase mouth hole. He's definitely salty right now.
Yeah. I'm going to salt my fries with that as I head over to the university. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Brett.
Thanks, man.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Thanks to the following patrons for making this video possible. Support us at patreon.com/player4podcast.